Yeah, they're over with.
All right.
We have no guarantees that they will come back next year.
It's very
None.
good that they're
That
dead.
is 100% a fact. But we will also tell you which one of the teams will, won't, and should make the college football playoff from the SEC. We'll also talk about how do you figure out what the ripple effect is going to be from front-loading NIL money. I can't imagine it's going to be small. We'll solve that problem at 6:30. The boys, Logan and Dan, have been tasked with giving us buy or sell tonight. We'll get to that at 7 o'clock.
They've been in the lab.
We'll also get to your phone calls, 402-951-1620. You can also leave us a comment on the night shift on our YouTube chat. Check in, punch in. Let us know that you're here with us for the next 2 hours as well. Jimmy Allen and John Schreiner with you tonight. Also, we're running this thing. The Big Ten has had, I counted, made sure to do the math.
Okay.
4 different articles from the major promotion or publications ranking their quarterbacks. Dylan Raiola at the highest has been number 3, and at the lowest has been number 9.
9, really? Yikes.
On 3 came out today, this is yesterday, and released their ranking of the Big Ten quarterbacks. Dylan Raiola finds himself 6th on this list. We were talking about this last night when we were debating about the positions that needed to improve the most heading in to this season, the wide receivers and how much they need to take a step up this year. Is it fair to look at last season, change at offensive coordinator, lack of wide receivers and ability to get open, and grade Dylan Raiola's freshman season as incomplete? Not an A, not an F, not anywhere in between, but incomplete, just because we don't have a polished really product of what it should look like this season and maybe next year?
I don't think so. I think it's a solid C+.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, and for all the reasons that you just highlighted, that there was some turnover, the receiver production wasn't necessarily there. Could he have done a little bit more? Probably. I mean, there were some criticisms to go around in the second half of the season with his, looseness with the ball and the amount of turnovers that he had in the second half of the season. So I don't know. I think it's an absolutely fair grade.
C+.
C+. I'd hear a B-.
See, I think I'm more on the C- side.
Really?
Ooh.
For a couple of reasons, right? Like, yes, everything we talked about last night is absolutely true. The wide receivers had a difficult time getting open. But the best quarterbacks, and granted he was a freshman, but Dylan Raiola was brought in the realm of the best quarterbacks, 5-star quarterback. Excuse me, at one point, the top recruit in his class. Those guys are supposed to be able to throw guys open, right? And
yeah, should be, I guess.
We didn't really see him do that last year. And to your point, there was times where he was forcing passes, and there was times, I think specifically in the Iowa game, where you had a couple of guys. Jamal Banks was standing wide open in the end zone twice in that game, and Dylan just didn't see him. There was a couple opportunities like that as well. So for me, I give him a C-, but it's very rare when you're going to talk about a freshman quarterback coming in where there's a offensive coordinator change more than midway through the season, and it'd be better than a C- grade, right?
It'd be hard. It'd be difficult. I mean, you'd have to have something spectacular happen.
So when we talk about Andy Staples' article from On 3 today and Dylan Raiola being placed in that 6th spot, if we're talking about everything that has been promised about Dylan Raiola and bringing Nebraska back and all the implications around that, you've had some pretty talented. You obviously have Drew Aller, who a lot of people have ranked as the number 1 quarterback in the country this year at Penn State. Luke Altmaier, I think, is the most important piece to Illinois' puzzle. And then you obviously throw Nika Iamaleava into the equation.
Iamaleava.
Yeah, whatever you said. Into the equation at UCLA. When we're talking the end of the season rankings, when we're putting 1 through 18 at the end of the year, if this is all sunshine and rainbows and Dylan Raiola is the goods, where should he be ranked on this list at the end of the season, in your opinion?
Should he be ranked? Probably 2.
So on this list, Drew Aller, Luke Altmaier, and Fernando Mendoza obviously saw some playing time at Cal. Knows our friend Isaiah Hunter obviously pretty well.
Yeah.
Is number 3 at Indiana.
I understand. His numbers weren't that spectacular at Cal.
And I think a little bit it's because it's Cal. and it's Kurt
Fine.
Cignetti, and it's what you saw from Curtis Warwick a little bit. So I think it's potential matched up with the potential of the system, because I think we can all agree that what you saw to Curtis Warwick last season is probably the highest level of potential that you should see out of Kurt Cignetti's offense, right? So if he's that level of good, and you mix that with what the potential you saw at Cal, I could see him being.
I mean, he didn't have like 60, almost 69% completions, 3,004 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's pretty efficient. Like,
well, and it's almost the Drew Aller effect, right? I mean, like when you're designing a prototypical quarterback on NCAA 26, it looks a lot like Drew Aller if you're going to be a pro style quarterback, right?
Well, Mendoza, 6'5",
Mendoza, he's even bigger. So I think that's got a little bit to do with it. But to put him ahead of Nico, a guy who was getting, a lot of Heisman hype before the season last year in Knoxville.
But like when you look at Nico's numbers from last year,
they left a lot to be desired, right?
They aren't like spectacular either.
Well, and the other thing, and a guy that is getting a ton of love, Dante Moore comes in at number 5 on this list from Oregon as well. And that's a couple things, right? It's what you saw to Dillon Gabriel last year. Oregon's on a run. They're going to have another top 5 in the country offensive line. But the fact that you're putting 3 guys really coming in to their schools for the first time ahead of a returning sophomore that was previously the number 1 rated quarterback in the country. I'm not knocking On3's list. I don't necessarily have a problem with what Andy Staples did here. I just think it's more of a reflection on what Dylan Raiola and that offense wasn't able to accomplish a year ago. Now you throw into that equation, you're bringing back your starting running back only has 1 touchdown on the ground from a year ago. We all expect Emmett Johnson to have a much better year than Dante Dowdell did a year ago as the true running back number 1 and really the option at that position if he can stay healthy. But I just think the fact that Nebraska's offense got stagnant really after the Big Ten slate started is really a reflection of why Dylan Raiola is showing as low as he is on some of these lists, because all you have to, like last year he was showing up higher on some of these lists. I think one list had him in number 2 in the Big Ten before the season started as a true freshman. The reason you're seeing him here is at 6 on some of these lists, and specifically on Andy Staples' list, is because he just wasn't able to deliver when the money was on the table.
Yeah, and the reason I said at the end of the season I think he should be 2, I mean, that's like if everything goes right. And when you're a 5-star quarterback and you're at Nebraska and you have a little bit more stability on your staff and presumably a little bit more talent around you, that's what you got to make it work now. Like last year, there were a lot of built-in excuses for last season of why maybe it didn't work as well. Yeah, and now you like those are gone. You got to do it this time.
The one thing I do want to say is with On3's list specifically, they keep the consistency that the guys that are ahead of Dylan Raiola are the older guys. They're not thrusting someone like Bryce Underwood
in at
number
I was
2.
Just to point out, yes, Julian Sayin and Bryce Underwood come in at 7, 8 respectively as redshirt freshmen and true freshmen on this list. I do think it's really interesting that one of the things that they point out is something that came along later in the season. I remember the 3rd and 20 conversion against Northern Iowa. In the beginning of the season, Dylan Raiola was taking some shots down the field. With that being said, he still finished with 6.9 yards per attempt last year. Per attempt, not per completion, per attempt. And that just shows you that he did not. And it's not like Nebraska's offensive line was terrible last year. No, they were a lot better than giving up 6.9 yards per attempt.
Well, we talked about like the strength of that offensive line last year was pass blocking and run blocking was a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So there's one of the excuses taken away. The line did him pretty well, kept him pretty clean for most of the year.
Yeah. And to go on to that, Dylan also had a 67% completion last year. So I think both of those numbers, a lot like I alluded to with his overall grade, I think you can kind of give it an incomplete because I don't think he had the ability to throw the ball downfield. He had the time, but he was forcing some passes late in the season because he really had to. Because the team started taking away the flats and the dump offs and the short routes and keying on Ja'Cory Barney and the running backs out of the backfield. And he just kind of winged it, hoping that he could throw a guy open. And he just didn't have the horses to get there.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, like 6 is fair. It's a fair ranking at
Yeah.
this point.
For a sophomore quarterback with 1 year of experience, I think it's more than fair.
I think it's a fair ranking. Now, like I say, Nebraska wants to get to where they want to get. He's got to be much higher on this list at the end of the season. He just has to be better than he was last year because of the expectation, of the amount of resources that they've poured into him, the way that they have made him the face of the team, the way they have put him out front and really built the team around him and his skill set, right? Like if you have a different quarterback, maybe you don't get Dana Holgorsen.
That's a good point. They have put him on Front Street for every recruiting visit. I mean,
Sure.
When there's big-time wide receivers that have come in or big-time offensive tackles, it just happens to be against the opponents Dylan's likely throwing north of 350 against. And I don't think that's by accident.
It's just got to be – it's got to look different. Last year –
I'll double down on that. It's got to feel different.
Well, last year –
you can't get into panic mode in 3rd and 6.
I think at times you were like, yep, that's a 5-star quarterback. And other times you're like, yep, that's a freshman. So,
which is fair, right?
Which is fair. I mean, you're going to have that. This year, it's got to be he's the guy. That looks like the dude. Like,
yeah, because here's the thought process, right? You have 2 more seasons, including this one of Dylan Raiola.
Yep.
And if you have more than that, something has gone wrong.
Probably. Right?
Listen, I mean, you don't have the commitment to Georgia. You don't have the commitment to the Ohio State and the eventual flip to Nebraska without that equation. It's not we have this kid for 4 years, we need to make it work. It's no, we've got to get him to the NFL, probably with a round of 1 in front of his name when he goes. Otherwise, we failed him by the way he was, the trajectory he was on when he came here, the pedigree that he comes from, and the expectations around this player.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say
because that's how it's going to be reflected in recruiting battles if it doesn't happen.
I think you've got maximum 2 seasons with Dylan Raiola, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Exactly.
If he's not ready to go to the NFL in the next 2 years, he's not sticking around. He's going somewhere where he thinks he can get ready for the NFL.
And well, maybe there's also a possibility where, let's say, out of some sheer luck or skill, Nebraska, his junior year, makes it to the Final Four or something like that.
Oh, he's gone.
I see. It depends on the loss, in my opinion, because you have the guy like Drew Aller who comes back after getting there as well. Now, I'm not saying that the potential of Drew Aller compared to Dylan Raiola is the same. They're completely different. But if he gets close enough and he's bought into this program, I could see a realm of possibility where maybe he's like, I want to come back for 1 more year.
Let me preface this with this.
I'd
that decision,
like 5%.
I think that's way too high. And let me say this with saying that decision would ultimately be up to Dylan Raiola. But when you go back and you listen to the way his father spoke about getting him prepared for this moment and prepared for what's next, and the way they handled the recruiting process, this was a business decision. Now, the business decision ultimately led to where Dylan ultimately wanted to be, obviously, with coming to Lincoln. And that would still be the case at whatever the way the year 3 ends, whether they end up in the Final Four or they end up 7-5. I mean, it's still, he has the ability to come back if he wants to. I just look at the way that process ran its course, the decisions, the way they were made, and the way it was handled. I don't think there's any plan for him to be in college football longer than 3 years before he came here, while he's here.
Right.
And if not, and if he is, they're not going to stick around at a place that it didn't work out for 3. It's the Trev Alberts quote. There's not a lot of data to prove this is going to work out long term.
Yeah. I fully agree. Like, if Dylan Raiola is playing a 4th year of college football, it's not in Lincoln.
Under any I don't think there's any circumstance outside of an injury that could be the case.
Yeah. Well,
but then why?
Maybe.
Why
Depends
not?
on when the
why
injury
go to
happened.
Nebraska in the first place compared to those schools that have produced, like Georgia and Ohio State?
I don't think that's a unique case to Nebraska. I think if he'd have stayed at Ohio State, or they give you a state at Georgia, we're having the same exact conversation.
I just don't know, because they've shown that they can develop those quarterbacks. I feel like part of him is, I want to bring a national championship to Nebraska in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, I'm
sorry. What quarterback has Georgia produced?
Stetson Bennett. You go Jake Fromm.
Oh, Aaron Murray.
Aaron Murray. Yeah.
Those
Stetson Bennett, the backup.
Those
Carson Beck.
all the NFL
now at Miami transfer, who's playing his 5th year of college football.
NFL Hall of Famers you just gave. No, I think that's I think that conversation that we just had right there, and not that Nebraska's put out a bunch of first-round quarterbacks themselves
or any quarterbacks at all.
Yeah, I think that conversation is probably where it ultimately was like, okay, I could go win a national championship, but do I feel like listen, they're winning national championships there, and their quarterbacks aren't being put on Front Street. I need to go somewhere I can be showcased, I can show my talents, and I can listen. If Dylan Raiola, like you just mentioned a Final Four, if Dylan Raiola is quarterbacking Nebraska in the semifinals of the national championship tournament, they're putting a statue with 15 on it in front of the stadium.
Let's also be clear about this. Dylan Raiola was not starting at Georgia or Ohio State last year.
No, he was not. And that was probably the most important part.
He was probably redshirting at either place. He wasn't even like suiting up on game day. He was redshirting.
And the Julian Sayin of it all threw a lot of wrenches into the equation. And then Connor McCord was out there. And then obviously Will Howard commits. So there was a lot of different things that went into the discussion. And with that being said, this is nothing against Dylan Raiola. If Dylan Raiola is the quarterback at Ohio State, they probably don't win the national championship last year either. Now, still got a pretty good wide receiver core to throw to. And maybe when at the end of that Oregon game, when Will Howard slides to lose the game, there's a conversation that's had. But Will Howard was going to quarterback that offense last year no matter what.
And Carson Beck was the starter at Georgia. And as soon as he decided to come back to school, like,
we went shopping.
Yeah. He was the part of the reason that Dylan Raiola came to Nebraska is because he was almost guaranteed to be a day one starter.
Kyle McCord ended up at Syracuse because Dylan Raiola came to Nebraska.
Yep.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around.
I think that speaks volumes. Hey, if you missed our opening segment or discussion about Big Ten quarterbacks, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Allo Fiber. I've been rocking with Allo for a while now, and I'm telling you, it is the real deal. I have a Wi-Fi extender on my house. I can get Wi-Fi on the next street over. It is so powerful. Allo Fiber brings an entire gig up to my house of internet speed. But if you want to save and stack right now, you have the ability through Labor Day to do so. You can switch to Allo Fiber, combine their internet with DirecTV and their new mobile services as well. You're going to get a 2-year locked-in price with no surprise fees. Grab Allo Fiber up until Labor Day. Stack and save. Head over to allofiber.com/stack and switch and get out of the Stone Age tonight. A 30-team college football playoff.
What?
How does the number keep going up? We debate. The other side of the break, 1627.
Hey, everybody. John here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Look, we've been telling you about all the great golf gear, all the different brands that are available, trying to entice you to stopping into 78th and Dodge and finding out which one of those is good for you. I've told you I love the Johnny O, told you we love the Mizzen and Maine. There's just so many options at Jerry Ryan. If you like the Johnny O, which I've been promoting, I have some Johnny O gear. I love it. I think you'll love it if you're anything like me. They got the Creighton logo gear. They've got all the goods to make you look number one for your next golf outing this summer. You're going to look great. You're going to feel great. Maybe you'll even play great one day. 78th and Dodge is the place to get your golf gear game right this summer. It's Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
It's 6:24 on
More
After
bad
Hours,
religion.
where the conversations off air are usually better than the conversations on air. You can join the night shift tonight by punching in on YouTube. Leave us a comment when J-Man greets us this evening. J-Man, we appreciate you punching in tonight. Join us. We need to fill some bar backs tonight. It is the After Hours Lounge brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu. You can register for classes and become a Bruin as early as this fall. No classes on Fridays. Majority of your schooling done online. You can also enjoy athletics on campus as well. Check out bellevue.edu for more details tonight. Eli Dierkowitz is one of the most polarizing coaches currently in college football.
Yeah, Drinkwitz has a lot to say usually.
Yeah,
and he doesn't always say things that people like.
He's very
mostly.
He's very opinionated and
Living up to the first syllable of his last name.
Drink.
Yeah, definitely. Let's call it what it is. This proposal that he gave us today is March Madness light, January Jamboree. Yeah, if you will.
Love that name, by the way. Saw that in the lineup. Amazing.
Let's just do this way. Let's give all 10 conference championships AQ, kind of like we talked about last night. Cut the regular season down to 10 or 11 games and just go all in. Is basically the proposal that he made without saying as much. Drinkwitz told On 3 that the NFL lets 44% of the teams into the playoff. 44% of college football, by the way, would be 58 teams. Please don't do that.
Don't. That's too many.
Where the 12 teams they let in is at 9%. And I think it's important to remember that the point of a playoff is to find the best teams and give them an opportunity to play for a national championship.
Yeah. And the NBA lets like 51% of their teams get in. So.
I'm going to go out on a real big limb here and say never in our lifetimes will the champion of the Sun Belt compete for the national championship.
That's a big because the Sun Belt to me, Jimmy, is
what are we doing? What are we doing?
Listen now. Of the group of 5 conferences, the Sun Belt is in the best position for growth, in my opinion.
Cool. They're never competing for a national championship.
You don't think a Sun Belt team's going to make
Madison
the playoff
versus
ever.
Alabama?
No.
Winning this game?
I'm talking about making the playoff and then making it all the way to the end. Competing for the national championship, not competing for a chance to play for a national championship.
Well, I heard Georgia's joining the Sun Belt, so
where did you hear this at? I was like, is this another Eli Drinkwitz take? Kind of sounds like it. But Drinkwitz goes on to say, when you're talking about the NFL playoff system, not only is it 14 teams, but you have the best out of your 4 teams in division. So when you compete against 4 teams to make a playoff, you know, again, if you let the University of Missouri, you say, hey, you just have to finish in the top 8 and you have a chance to play in the playoffs. That's a win every day, and I'm all for that. I think that's awesome. So in his 30-team playoff scheme, you would have to finish in the top 8 of the SEC. Now, we talked about automatic qualifiers in a 12, a 14, and a 16 playoff. Right now, the SEC has 1 AQ. The 16-team proposal from Tony Petitti in the Big Ten would give you 4. If you expanded to 30, which would be almost doubling the 16-team playoff.
That's not even realized yet.
It would only make sense that you would have to give 8 teams from both the Big Ten and the SEC. So not
12 of the 30
are
from the SEC and Big Ten.
Not only does Eli Drinkwitz want 30 teams, he wants 8 automatic qualifiers from the top 2 conferences.
That's bananas, dude.
I know, and I agree But I guarantee you something like this has been kicked around, because it kind of feels like 4 is what the Big Ten was willing to settle for. And if you think Tony Petitti walked in and asked for 4, you've never negotiated a deal in your life. So I think coaches sometimes say stuff like this, probably because they've heard things in meeting. Well, that's a great idea. I don't know if that's Eli Drinkwitz or not, but that's
to be fair, that would technically, if we're only going off of conference record, that would be Ole Miss, who is 10-3. But hypothetically, that would be an 8-5 team, and you would have to decide between Florida or Texas A&M.
Neither one of those teams deserve to be in the playoff.
Not a single one of them. And flip it over to the Big Ten, Dan. Who finished 8th in the Big Ten last year?
That's going to take a minute.
Here, give me a sec. I'm pulling that up right now.
Perfect. Thank you, Logan.
Are we? How also
was it Nebraska?
I think it was. That's why I'm asking.
Conference?
No, they finished 10th.
Yeah, they finished way low.
It would be Minnesota at 5-4 in conference.
What's their overall record?
8-5.
8-5.
No.
Yeah.
So we're talking about putting 5 loss teams, because that was Florida had 5 losses as well, correct?
Yes.
So we're talking about lowering the bar to compete for a chance to play for a national championship to 8-5.
Basically 2 teams for the Music City Bowl. We're putting in the college football playoffs.
I truly believe if we're having this discussion, we put parameters on bowl games, right? You got to be able to win 6 games. You got to be at least 500 to compete for postseason play. If we get anywhere near 20, let alone 30, there should be a requirement that you have to win 9 games in the regular season. And I think that's an important caveat, because there are going to be some down years where conference champions that are 11-0 going into or 12-0 or 11-1 heading in to a conference championship game may lose to an 8-4 team. I'm here to tell you that you should not be allowed to be 8-4 and make the college football playoff, even if you win your conference tournament.
Well, what you're going to get then is more berths from the group of 5, because there's going to the top 8 in the 2 major conferences are not always going to have 8 wins, or they're not always going to have 9 wins. So
how often are you going to get your group of 5 teams to have 9 wins, though?
I don't know, fairly regularly.
I'm just glancing through all this right
Jacksonville
now.
State won 9 games a year ago.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of teams.
Ohio won 11.
Well,
Ohio won 9.
If we're putting 30,
you're going to have UConn at
9-4
make the college football playoffs.
Could you argue that a 9-4 UConn team probably should have got in over an 8-4 Florida team last year?
Look, this is the argument I was making last night, that the games on your schedule, you have to win them. It doesn't maybe you play a tougher schedule, and that's because you get more money for playing in a tougher conference. So win more games, buddy.
Yeah, spend more money on your roster. And speaking of that, a ton of teams are. How is front-loading NIL money going to affect college football in 2026? We're going to debate on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Railcar. Stop by 144th and Blondo for their happy hour, 2:30 to 6 p.m. Appetizers starting as low as $2. Where can you get a $2 appetizer in Omaha? One place. It's Railcar. Plus $1 drafts of bottles of beer, cider, and NA beers. All signature cocktails. Just $10. Classic cocktails, $8. Every single glass of wine in the joint, $2 off. Check out Railcar right on the corner of 144th and Blondo. Stop out and grab happy hour deals this week. We'll be right back. NIL, we continue to manage it through July. 1620 The Zone.
Gonna make a break and take a bake out like a sneak and they can shake out like vanilla. It's the finest of the flavors. Gonna see the showcase and you'll know the vertigo is gonna go.
Hey everybody, John here again for Bob at Williams Law. Let me tell you about 2 places I know where you can get free legal advice. One of them is TikTok, and you should probably just delete that app immediately if you're going on there to find legal advice. The other one is a man named Bob Williams, because he's going to give you a free, no-obligation legal consultation and get your legal questions answered, whether you're facing criminal, civil, or personal litigation issues. What does free and no obligation mean? Well, it means, first of all, you don't have to pay him any money for the first meeting, and you don't have to sign up for a retainer or some sort of subscription service, and you don't have to buy anything on TikTok Live or something like, I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
It's not a thing.
But you don't have to do it, because Bob's going to sit down with you, answer all your questions, and get you ready for your day in court, all in that free, no obligation legal consultation. Check out WilliamsLawLLC.com.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot field house featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Hi, I'm Cole Scharf with Scharf Painting. Choosing a painter isn't like picking a color swatch. It's about the trust and craftsmanship. Every space is unique. Family owned and detail driven. We paint everything. Homes, businesses, interiors, exteriors, and even decks and fences. Based in Omaha, we'll travel anywhere for your project. With Scharf Painting, it's more than paint, it's a relationship. We communicate, we follow through, and we take pride in providing excellence. Visit ScharfPainting.com for your next masterpiece.
Look sharp with Scharf.
.636 on a Thursday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you're looking for the ideal college experience this fall, head over to bellevue.edu. Register for classes. Do the majority of your schooling online. You can no classes on Friday. You can attend on-campus sporting events. There is no better experience in the Midwest for college than Bellevue University. Front-loading NIL money. How is that going to cause a ripple effect in 2026? I think they need to figure out whatever the, quote, fix is for the transfer portal and determine when players can and can't, because obviously this year was a little bit unique with the roster cuts and grandfathering in. There needs to be some cut and dry, black and white, in writing. This is what the transfer rules are. Here's the dates. Figure it out. Because back in April, the Houston Chronicles and Kirk Bowl reported that Texas is going to spend over $35 million on its roster this year. Let me check the math. Yes, that is $15 million over, well, $14.5 million over the allotted money from revenue sharing. So this is just NIL money. Now, we've heard reports from On3 that the clearinghouse isn't exactly functioning very well, and some schools aren't even bothering with going through it. So if that's the case,
Well, when you have a toothless organization,
but here's the thing though. It only takes them getting some dentures for that to be a thing, right? Like, and what's going to happen? People's paychecks are going to get lighter. You're going to have a lot more hoops to jump through. Like, let's look at this on its face and say they get some sort of semblance of help from the government, and it gets determined the clearinghouse is legal, putting value on what people can make inside of this revenue sharing model that for teams that have opted in all comes out on its face. You think the transfer portal has been crazy up until this point? What happens when some of these guys that are getting paid 8 figures ends up getting their money cut in half, if not more? You know what's going to happen? They're going to go somewhere else where they actually wanted to go, where the money didn't determine them being there. And we joked about the Sun Belt. There's going to probably be an overflow of guys in the transfer portal too, and you're probably going to see some pretty talented guys have to go down to the group of 5 and probably make an impact on some teams because they got left out in the cold because they were in a situation they didn't want to be in. It took money to be there. Like, think about a guy like Williams Nwaneri. Obviously wanted to go to Nebraska. You have the legislation come out of the state of Missouri. If he stays in high school and goes to the in-school state, he ends up getting a ton of money. He was crystal balled to Nebraska, then all of a sudden this legislation passed, and he's a Missouri Tiger 2 days later. He now plays football in Lincoln. And 5-star player, was one of the top recruited defensive linemen in the entire country coming out of high school. And there was enough money at 16 years of age to keep him in state. Now, if you take that completely out of the equation and guys can just leave willy-nilly, good luck on 3, like keeping up with everybody jumping into the portal, because it's going to be at an all-time high.
It like everything is super messy right now. It's without and almost it's almost nobody's fault, because you had an organization in the NCAA who was operating outside the bounds of the law, maybe didn't know that they weren't, and that's fine. I'll hear it.
I mean,
But-
everybody was telling them they were, but
Sure.
whatever.
And now they've been told, no, you can't do that anymore, which opens the floodgates and opens the doors. And there's no really guidance as to how the sport should be administered right now, because like I said, the NCAA's teeth have been pulled.
They've lost every lawsuit.
They don't have a way to enforce the rules they want to put in place. And that includes, like, with, the transfer portal and NIL and revenue share, there's just no clear picture of what this is going to look like. And like that, what do football coaches love more than anything?
Money.
Certainty.
Yeah.
They want to know who's on my team. When are they going to be able to report? How long can I have them for practice? What are we going to do to
Routines. They want routines.
and plans and certainty. That's what high level coaches thrive on.
Adam makes a really good point. He says the clearinghouse is currently denying every deal involving a collective. Speaking from experience, it's going to be a mess of lawsuits. And what's going to happen?
Huge mess.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to get everything that was happening before this was on Front Street. Like, oh no, I sure hope schools don't put their morals aside and start paying kids money under the table, because there's no way they would ever do that.
Yeah. And I mean, thank gosh that this came out during the summer when it did, because this is giving us cannon fodder forever. But I think we have to give a little bit of credit where credit is due. The NCAA and all of the institutions right now and the clearinghouse are just trying to literally grab the reins on a Bronco that's just sprinting away from it. And they're saying, no, come back. We have carrots. We have oats. We can fix this. But it's like we took the messed up world of college football as it was before any of this happened. And we said, hey, what if we make this even messier, even harder to understand, and 100% out the window? We just threw everything that was already set in standard with NIL payments and with how the system was going to work. And we basically just kicked it out the front door and said, go fend for yourself.
I like your analogy, but I'm going to put a spin on it. It's more like the athletics is a tied post to the ground, and the NCAA and the collectives and the College Sports Commission and the government and the teams themselves are wild broncos that are all running in different directions. Because there's what this does is this almost neuters the collectives who have spent a lot of money, more importantly, have asked for a lot of money to be representing the fan bases and the student athletes and been that conduit, and have probably made a pretty penny themselves. Now, if you completely take them out and only do pay for play, I don't know if you know this. A lot of people don't really like losing money that they've worked hard to earn. Well, that they've worked to earn. I don't know. I've never worked for a collective, so I don't want to say that they don't work hard.
Well,
but
I mean, the other side of this coin here is that with the pay for play, and look, everybody's going to seek as much money as they can get. Like that's what you do in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to maximize their value.
That you don't want the most, you just want a lot.
Right. What could happen with the rev share is that there will be fewer people interested in contributing, and this is purely hypothetical. There may be fewer people interested in committing money to the collective, and more people again interested in committing money to the school.
Yep.
Who they know it's going to be on the up and up. It's going to be regulated. We know this money.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right. But there's going to be oversight of that, right? Right now, there's no oversight on collective operations. Like, they are their own thing. They don't have any rules to play by. They can do whatever they want, come by the money however they need to, and distribute it however they feel is necessary.
Can I caveat that, though? Is there a little bit that makes you feel a little bit better about it that the 18, 17, 16-year-old kids that are coming into school have something and somebody who should be doing what's in their best interest to help them make the most money? And that there is that conduit with the money to help facilitate that. Because expecting the school to do that, I think that's a lot to ask on top of everything else.
But let's think about how it works in the NFL. Like, everybody gets paid their salary to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys get more. Some guys get a little less because of the position they play, their skill level, etc. Right? And then
it's like the millions of dollars Logan Mosley gets paid to produce this show.
The elite players get to sell their name, image, and likeness for large sums of money.
Yeah.
The lower level players, they might get a
State
local
Farm.
car deal or something like that, right? But the elite guys are the ones that get the national endorsement deals, and they make a lot of money. If we can get to that stage in college football where it's like, okay, the players are making their base amount from rev share.
What NIL was supposed to be anyway.
Right. And then, like, the collective will have a smaller impact on things. Maybe they won't have as much, booster, donor generated funds to dole out. So they're only going to have the impact on the starting quarterback or, the Heisman hopeful defensive end or whatever it might be, right? There may be a fewer number of players that the collective can impact because the focus is on the revenue sharing portion of it. That's a best case scenario from my perspective.
Can I tell you why I don't think we ever see that? It's what we saw happen at BYU. And now BYU is a little bit of a special case because obviously for in-state kids, for kids that are of the LDS church, it's cheaper to go to school. But you had a power drink come in and say, we're going to pay for all the walk-on scholarships. And that now is like $5,600 a student, I think we saw. And they're going to use cases like that. Or we just saw Arch Manning talking about how he's paid for some of the walk-ons to go to school or their funding or whatever. And we've seen Dylan Raiola make donations. Like, it's not that there's enough stories out there of kids that aren't just going to get the bag and taking it with them, and that's all they're here for. They're giving back to where somebody's going to go, you're taking away from charity. Because all you need is one example, and there's more than that. So I don't see a situation, and it's for a couple reasons. A, that's very true. Like, everything I just said is truthful. But it's not you in that situation, you also need the collectives to go, okay, we'll take less. And they're their own entity now. So that's not going to happen.
Well, but I'm saying it might, like, the whole system might render them partially obsolete because, like, in my mind, if the schools need to generate more money to fill out their revenue share portion of things, right? They need more donations. They need more in the kitty so that they have that 20.5, 22.5, 25 million, whatever it is, to dole out to the student athletes. I think they're going to go to the donors and say, hey, look, we're going to be paying everybody. You don't have to give that money to the collective now. Give it to us. We'll put it in the rev share kitty and we'll give it to everyone. And it'll be better for the entire roster.
Yeah,
Now,
which I agree with, by the way.
If you want to give some money to the collective then will go out and get the actually most marketable athletes, use their name, image, and likeness to generate that revenue for themselves and some for the athlete as well.
What do you make of the $35 million that allegedly Texas is paying this roster?
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds like a ton.
Which, according to records, would be $11.5 million more than Ohio State paid their roster a year ago.
And how much of that do you think is
They
Arch
won the
Manning?
national championship? Well, and
that's the big one for me.
I think his
because that
NIL
last name alone commands a lot of money.
Yeah,
I
but
think his value is like $8 million. I think on 3.
but when you think about it, like when you really think about it, shouldn't he like need the least amount? I mean,
Yeah, that last name
I'm
works both
sure
ways.
his family is probably fronting some money for him to go to college. If I had a
You're telling
guess.
me that
Yeah.
Peyton and Eli aren't poor?
yeah, they
Or
got,
Cooper.
they probably need another TV show for them to put on.
Omaha.
I think
I have to hear that after another show again.
I just think it's really interesting, like how you look at what Ohio State, especially let's say Texas does win the national championship this year, and once again, what is documented as the highest paid roster again wins another national championship. What does that ripple effect look like across the landscape of college football? Because
I think
it's
that ripple's already started.
I agree.
That
but if
pebble's
it-
already in the pond, Jimmy.
But if it happens 2 years in a row, look what's happening in Major League Baseball. Look at what the Dodgers have been able to do too. Like they've taken what the Yankees have done for decades and put it on steroids. And if it shows
Bad analogy for baseball.
yeah, let's see what I did there. But if you show 2 years in a row that the highest paid roster, and I think it's even more intriguing if Texas loses a couple of games and still ends up in the playoff, a la what Ohio State did a year ago. If Texas is able to win a national championship with a $35 million roster, how quickly do we start seeing the race go up? Because Texas didn't have a $35 million roster a year ago.
No, the race
You
has already
know.
started.
I
That's
know.
what it says to me.
But it is. But how quickly does it escalate? Are we talking 50, 100? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how quickly do these start looking like NBA rosters?
Salary cap,
ver-
anyone?
Yeah, versus an NFL
We got to be
roster.
getting there sooner than later. I just don't know how you can
Like
manage
contracts,
any of it.
Like Captain points out something I've been saying for a long time. Contracts and caps solve a lot of the problems.
They don't, though. And here's why. Because the reason Patrick Mahomes has a State Farm deal is because he's one of 32 guys. And you want the most noticeable face in the NFL. But oftentimes, especially in the Austin, Columbus, Athens, LA markets, the most recognizable face is the starting quarterback at your college.
Sure.
And that is going to
I'd pull LA out of there real quick.
okay, yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. Okay,
Cut LA out.
you know the starting quarterback at UC. I can't even get the joke out with a straight face.
Thank you. Matthew Stafford, not Herbert.
Yeah.
Pretty
Hey.
important.
But in most college
so is
towns,
Jason Momoa.
yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah.
yeah. But most college towns and in schools that are places that basically have college athletics as their key, Lincoln in the state
Yeah.
of Nebraska being one of them. There are more opportunities for direct payment to those players where you don't have to have State Farm money, where you're going to get State Farm results with an ad campaign with a player like that. And I honestly don't think contracts solve this problem, because you essentially have contracts now with we're going to allow $20 million in rev sharing. That hasn't fixed anything. You still have all of these people donating
No.
all of this money
Yes.
because there is no, well, you can't come in as a Runza and sponsor Dylan Raiola for a maximum of $2 million. Now, that's what the clearinghouse is supposed to be doing, but that doesn't make sense because it doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. So, like, if you're a donor and you've got $5 million that you just have laying in your couch cushion and you want to give it to the university to get you a starting quarterback, you're going to have the ability to do that,
Sure.
whether you sign a contract or not. So I don't think that fixes anything. It fixes the transfer portal portion, in my opinion. It doesn't fix the NIL portion.
I think its sole purpose though is to build to the greater goal of putting all this money publicly available down to the last cent so we can see what it is and then build from there to a salary cap type situation based on each conference. I think that is ultimately the goal that they're going to try and do, but it's going to take a long time.
The road to hell is paved with great intentions. And that's what's supposed to happen. That doesn't mean it's going to.
And I really wish it was going to be made publicly available at any point. But if the NCAA and college athletics has ever taught me anything,
Nope.
It's
Screw
shady
it
is
up.
pretty great. And shady
Well,
is the way that they like to go usually.
I think
Public-
they're actually going to put the contracts inside McDonald's bags. That
Public
we'll be able to figure it out.
institutions of
That
higher
would be fair.
education have to publish their salary info.
Does McDonald's
is true.
sponsor Tennessee in any way? Because if they
They
haven't at
need
this
to.
point, I feel like they're missing a giant
the
opportunity.
same colors.
Hey, if you missed this segment, check it out at on our 1620thezone.com radio replay page. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's summertime. You know what that means. It's going to get hot outside. It was another hot day today. Is your AC turning on when it's supposed to? Is it getting a little humid in your house? None of that is supposed to happen. You need to get a maintenance appointment set up with Controlled Comfort where they come out, take a look at your air conditioner. They're going to give you the length of the life of that unit and get you prepared for what's next after it stops working. Head over to ControlledComfort.com. They'll give you peace of mind about your furnace and get you ready for the cold months as well. ControlledComfort.com is where you need to be to set up a maintenance appointment tonight. We're going to find out what Logan Mosley found trending on social media. We come back at 1620 The Zone.
Had a cane and a party hat. I was the king of this hologram where there's no such.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. Have you started to notice some water backing up in your basement? Does it continue to happen when you're running the dishwasher, the wash machine, or maybe even taking a shower and you have to worry every time you turn some water on it, but there's going to be a backup? There's probably tree roots or some sort of debris in your main line. You need to have AX Plumbing come out, use their water jetting camera to run down the pipe, take a look at it, find out what's blocking it, and water jet that out to the main line and clear your house of any damage or backup going forward. Or check out axpservice.com. Have water jetting done in your home tonight.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Breaking here at the news desk. When you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, you can lock in your price for 2 years. Sources are confirming that when you stack Allo Internet, DirecTV, and mobile, your monthly price drops and you're locked in for 2 years. That's fiber fast internet, premium streaming TV, and reliable nationwide mobile coverage. And this just in, you must switch by Labor Day to secure that locked-in pricing for 2 years. Switch, stack, and save at allofiber.com/stack.
Ready to make a positive impact in a young boy's life? Join Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands and become a mentor where you are matched up with a boy in the greater Omaha area. Over 50 boys are waiting for someone like you to guide and inspire them. Visit mentoromaha.org and sign up to make a difference in a boy's life. Don't wait. Make a lasting impact today.
.658 on a Thursday night on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, and become a Bruin tonight. That is time for Logan Mosley to tell us what's trending on social media for the social media soundbite. Logan, what do we got tonight?
Can't wait to see this.
Oh, yeah. Well, as we all know as sports nerds, the ESPYs were last night, and the monologue and overall host was Shane Gillis. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip for you guys here from what was a very up and down opening monologue.
Shedeur Sanders had his jersey number retired at Colorado this year, and people are saying it's because of nepotism, because of his father, and it's not. It's because he went 13-12 over his career, and he almost won the Alamo Bowl. Definitely not nepotism, right? All right.
I love it.
I picked that clip mainly because that is one of the more tame clips of the night that we can actually put on the show.
I'm a little disappointed in the both of you.
Why?
Because what is the one topic Dan just thrusts into every conversation?
Politics?
The WNBA.
The WNBA.
I thought about it.
Shane Gillis pointed out that former, I don't know, who was it? Do you remember who it was?
It's his friend's
No,
wife.
I know.
Yeah.
He said whoever he said it was.
Former
and they showed her
NBA champion, and they just
and
made up a name.
And everybody clapped, and he's like, I'm just kidding. That's my friend's wife. I knew you guys didn't know who WNBA players were.
I don't even think his friend's wife knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Because she got flashed on the screen. You know, she's clapping, then she's like, oh, wait, that's me.
The best.
He was great last night.
The best on that clip was, so it is his best friend and comedy partner, Matt McCusker, who that's
Not
his
to be confused
wife.
with Matt McMaster. Not the same person.
That is correct.
People forget.
But they zoomed out, and McCusker's face was the greatest thing I've ever seen because he is just laughing so hard.
He probably knew about the setup. The Caitlin Clark stuff was funny. I thought it was hilarious. The Waffle House joke was great. I thought it was funny.
I thought about picking that one there. I thought that was great too.
It's great when you get somebody, whenever they do events like this, and they get somebody outside of sports that's clearly a sports fan. And Shane Gillis got it. And I didn't watch any. You know what I watched of the ESPYs last night?
Shane Gillis.
The 3.5-minute clip up of the funny stuff Shane Gillis said. And I promise you, I probably had more fun than anybody that actually watched the ESPYs last night.
So I will say, I am a huge fan of the ESPYs. I enjoy the sports stories that they get to tell. I enjoy the nostalgia for, some of the awards that they give out, like the Arthur Ashe Award going to Oscar Robertson.
Yep.
The Jimmy V Award, especially last night, going to the Penn State volleyball head coach. That was great. Also, shout out Mother McCauley on the south side of Chicago. Greatest Catholic school and greatest volleyball program in possibly the high school ranks of the United States of America. But
Pavilion South would like a word.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. But I will say Shane Gillis was a good choice. You could tell that he didn't write his own material, though.
The fact that he started laughing halfway through the Shedeur Sanders joke give that away for you?
And a lot of the kind of awkward pauses where he was like, oh, I can tell the crowd's not into this. It reminded me a lot of his SNL monologue, his first one that he did.
I think it was more, is this room going to get this joke, or am I going to get something thrown at me?
Oh, they're all
more
going to
than
get the
that?
joke. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of if they're willing to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's fun when you have a comic who's also a sports fan.
Yeah, that's the point I was making. Like,
Yeah.
somebody that gets it, like, oh, somebody else could write this material for him.
I will
and I
say-
think that was a little bit too. He started laughing because he's like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
I will say one of my favorite opening monologues, and we were talking about this before the show with
Scott Frost, a Big Time Media.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Teams are going to have to adapt to us.
It was real short. The second one, at least, was real short.
My favorite actually is Conan O'Brien's at the NFL Honors. I believe it was 2016.
Yeah.
That one was really, really good. And I don't know off the top of my head how big of a sports fan Conan O'Brien was. And I don't know how many of those jokes he wrote, but he did a really good job. And that was one of those moments from like, that's the guy you need to replicate the best you can. And now they just keep going back to Steve Harvey.
Well, and that's the thing that we talked about, Logan, was like Conan is a seasoned late night host. And when they say, all right, you have to do, or you're getting asked to do this NFL honors thing, he goes, cool. You know what's great about that is I've got a whole room of writers who I trust and who know my voice and who can kind of get jokes with my timing down. And they understand how I like a monologue prepared.
Well, we'll see if Dan Campion and Logan Mosley are prepared for buy or sell. We come back on the other side of the break. If you missed the social media soundbite tonight, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. If your business needs help with social media marketing or help with SEO to put yourself at the top of Google searches, pixelfiremarketing.com is here to help. Their social media experts will ignite your presence online and entice your ideal client. Get them in the door today. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details tonight. We'll be right back. Buy or selling 1620 The Zone.
Got to find a reason why my money's all gone.
Hey, everybody, it's Sean here for Paul Davis Restoration. You know, the storms, they have been active here in the last couple of weeks in the Omaha area. And if you are experiencing some of the after effects of that you are not liking right now, maybe the basement's feeling a little bit damp and you're worried about some mold that could be happening down there. Maybe you got a full-on breakthrough and you got water down in the basement. Well, not to worry. Just call this number, 402-553-0373, because Paul Davis can put your house back to the way it was before any of that happened. That's the promise they make to you. And keep that number in your phone, because when disaster strikes, they can be there in a flash. 402-553-0373 for Paul Davis Restoration.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
The real game changer in college athletics, it's coaches. And at Bellevue University, there is an experienced team of coaches who know you both as an athlete and as a person. Plus, there are student coach advisors who are there to provide individualized academic support every step of the way as you progress towards your degree. At Bellevue University, you're not just another athlete. You belong. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Heat waves are crashing all over the Midwest. Beat the heat with Controlled Comfort. If your AC is aging and you have concerns, Controlled Comfort is your one-stop shop for all your HVAC issues. Let Controlled Comfort's comfort specialists come out, diagnose your issue, resolve it, or replace that old AC unit with one that'll keep you cool in the months ahead. Head over to ControlledComfort.com today. Controlled Comfort keeps it under control.
$7.10 on a Thursday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being number one in Omaha doesn't happen by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book a free estimate for your windows, your roof, your gutters, your siding. They do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. Logan Mosley and Dan Campen have split buy or sell right down the middle. Who wrote 2 and who wrote 3?
I wrote 2.
Okay.
I wrote more than 3, but
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
because I didn't know.
Way to be over-prepared, Dan. I'm glad one of you were.
To be fair, neither one of us have communicated about what we actually
Ooh.
wrote for buy or sell.
And that was intentional. I wanted to be surprised by what you
Well,
asked.
what you didn't think about, Logan, is what if you asked the same question?
I was thinking about.
Hence why I wrote 4.
All right, who's starting?
I'll start us off here. Speaking of the ESPYs, at last night's ESPYs, the Philadelphia Eagles were crowned as the best champion from this last year over UConn's women's basketball team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the LA Dodgers, and the Florida Panthers. Buy or sell? Were the Eagles the most impressive championship team from last year?
I think they were, and a lot of that is because because of the way you always remember the last thing that happens. The last thing you saw at the end of the NFL season was the Philadelphia Eagles dominating a dynasty in Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City
They beat
Chiefs.
the crap out of Kansas City.
And it wasn't even close. They obviously had you talk about the other teams that were in that equation. I mean, UConn is probably who I would put second on that list, but the Thunder went to 7 games. The Panthers went to 6. So I think you kind of take those guys out of the equation already. What was the other team that we left off there? The Dodgers. They went to 6. So yeah, I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I think the Eagles were probably deserving of that award. I would actually probably put the Panthers second.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Just because it's their second in a row, and they did it coming from a lower seed and didn't really look like they were in trouble at any point in the playoffs.
But does them being a lower seed automatically drop them out of second because they didn't have a dominant regular season?
Not necessarily to me.
I mean, the Eagles were the 1 seed and ran the table.
Yeah, and that's why they're number 1. But I think what the Panthers
weren't
did.
the 1 seed.
They weren't. They were the
No,
2.
they played.
were.
Yeah, the
That's right.
Lions, and they played the Packers in the first round.
That's right. I forgot.
So
Okay, they were
again,
the 2 seed. Sue me.
but I think what the
You know
what
who
the
wasn't a 2
Panthers-
seed? The Panthers.
What they looked like in the playoffs was unbeatable, and they turned out to be.
Yeah, I would. I would tend to agree. I think listening to the two of you has swayed my opinion a little bit, simply because of the fact that when you look at it on face value, we all kind of expected the Dodgers to make it there in the end.
Yep.
We've seen the Panthers do this before. Geno Auriemma and the UConn Huskies are sort of always an inevitability in college basketball.
I mean, they beat USC, UCLA, and South Carolina by an average of 17.5 points in the
Pretty
Elite Eight,
dominating.
Final Four and final game.
I buy pretty hard because the Eagles to me make sense just because of what they accomplished by the end of it all.
I got to agree with John. I really think the Panthers were number 2 and really the only team that could combat the Eagles for that number 1 spot.
Oh, you're both wrong. So congratulations. What I got with you? What's number 2?
My number 2. The more and more it drags on, the more and more questions we ask about the Bengals and Shamar Stewart. And now reports are out that he is practicing with Texas A&M, and there's a rumor around that he could potentially apply for a waiver and injunction and therefore get another year of college football. Buy or sell? Who wins in this hypothetical? Texas A&M and Shamar Stewart or the Bengals?
Shamar Stewart. I mean, there's no rules in college football anymore. I'm kind of expecting Patrick Mahomes to come back and play at Texas Tech or Texas Tech for a season. I mean, listen, this is up there. This would probably be number 2 in draft blunders, along with the Vikings not getting a pick in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's number 1. This has got to be number 2 if this ends up happening.
The winner in this scenario would be Texas A&M. They're getting a first round level defensive end that they thought they weren't going to have back on their roster if this happens. Like, they are the winner.
Logan, can I ask you a real quick question just to get some context?
Right ahead.
At what exact time did you write this question?
Earlier today during my lunch break.
When was your lunch break?
Around 3:30.
Okay, because at 2:42 p.m. our time, Mike Elko actually came out and said that there's no way that Shamar Stewart is going to return to the Texas A&M program.
I didn't think so. This was just purely posed as a hypothetical. In what world?
Or is Mike Elko playing 3D chess while the rest of us are reading on 3?
Listen, Mike Elko can say that all he wants. But if the NCAA grants Shamar Stewart a waiver, you think he's telling him, sorry, bud? Not a chance.
Not one shot, yeah. He's probably actually trying to help it happen.
And I think the overall winner in this is going to be Shamar Stewart, because the longer he holds out, the more cash money
but here's
he's going to make.
Here's the other flip side of all this. If he, let's say hypothetically in this insane scenario, he does go back to Texas A&M and he just flops. That's where it goes the other way around, because the Bengals have saved themselves the money of a first overall pick or first round pick.
But they don't have that.
They don't have
either.
the pass rusher. Yes.
No, they don't have anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have a water boy
right now.
Because Trey Hendrickson is pissed off at them for drafting Shamar Stewart.
Exactly. So
who's the loser in all this? It's
the Bengals.
Multiple times over.
There's also a world where Shamar Stewart is a big loser in this whole thing as well.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
Because if he decides he's gonna not sign with the Bengals and then doesn't get the waiver, he just has to sit around for a year and do nothing.
But
and re-enter the draft next year.
That's gonna bring up an interesting point. Well, that's gonna be an interesting thing. Like this is unprecedented, right? Like
there have been guys who've decided to sit out rather than go to the team that they were drafted by.
Could somebody make the offer to the Bengals for his rights?
Sure, they could.
We've seen that multiple times.
That's more likely the case than him just sitting out a year.
But you have to wonder,
this level of pass rusher.
You have to wonder if people in the heads of organizations are like, is this guy going to be too much of a problem? He hasn't even signed his contract yet, and he's calling out the Bengals saying they're playing petty politics or whatever he ends up saying. That's the big thing to me, where it's like, you can try and trade him all you want. You spend a first round pick on him, you're not going to get a first round pick back.
He just wants guaranteed money.
Yeah.
He just wants
guaranteed. It's such a dumb clause.
He wants guaranteed injury money. That's all this is. And guess what?
The Bengals don't do that for anyone.
It's not even
most people don't do that.
It's not even an injury clause.
Hey guys, fun shocking thing here. The Bengals are mismanaging another thing. What a surprise. Let's all
T. Higgins watch.
We can get that started again.
Dan, what do we got from you tonight?
Round 1, aka round fun of the Open Championship at Royal Portrush is in the books, and we have only 20 people under par. Buy or sell, we see that number drop on Friday as the poor weather rolls in and decides to do a classic Irish jig.
I mean, is the sun going to come up tomorrow? It's going to be bad weather in Ireland. That's just kind of what happens, right?
It's going to be bad weather in the morning, maybe a little sun, and then more bad and heavy rain apparently in the afternoon.
When I say Ireland golf course, what do you picture? Green grass, gray sky. Every time.
Leprechaun
over the bridge.
Yes, there will be fewer players under par tomorrow. I buy that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's just what happens when wind comes about.
And can you please be a weatherman in the next life?
Did you see one of the funniest clips to come out from the tournament today was Bryson DeChambeau, who famously uses one-length irons.
Yes.
Trying to hit the ball with his lob wedge off a side hill with an iron that's as long as a 7 and just absolutely whiffed it.
That and,
hilarious.
I think it was Scotty Scheffler's approach on number 6 or number 7. Want to say it was his second shot out of the rough, hits the ball, and then immediately right after, there is a rogue fart from somewhere. And both of the broadcasters, who, as we all know, at the Open Championship, are very staunch, quiet British men, just start laughing so hard. If Shane Gillis wouldn't have hosted the ESPYs last night, I would have forced that into social media sound.
You got one more, Dan?
I do indeed. 3 years and $42 million. That's the price to get Dame time back to the Rose City. Buy or sell that this is Lillard's last stop before retirement.
I think this is the easiest buy.
I mean, I was trying to think of a better answer, and I was kind of expecting you to ask this question tonight because I mean, it's every athlete's dream when you're the guy and you leave to get the opportunity to go back to the spot. Like obviously, Dwayne Wade got his chance to go play in Chicago, his hometown, but retired with the Miami Heat, things like that. Like this has got to be his last stop because he's not getting another contract that's going to garner him to play somewhere else.
Yeah, it didn't feel like he wanted to leave the first time, really. You just got the vibe that he kind of wished he didn't have to go. And so now that he's coming back, I think it's for good.
I think he also realizes maybe it's not in my destiny as an NBA player to necessarily go down with a championship. He's going to be remembered for all his clutch shots, especially against OKC and that hit over Paul George. Excuse me. I don't know why I was blanking out on that there. That's what he's going to be remembered by, which is not a bad thing at all. I mean, people want to recreate that shot. Even he went to go hit it and he's like, I can't believe I hit this shot. I think that's what he's going to be known for. And that's, in my opinion, not a bad thing at all for him.
Hey, we're going to talk to the Westview Wolverines head football coach, Ben Ryan, and his players. We come back on the other side of the break. If you missed this segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's not Ireland, but it's still gonna be windy in the state of Nebraska, and it could mess with your air conditioner and give it cause to stop working. If you have concern about your AC unit, you need a maintenance appointment set up with Controlled Comfort. Tony and the team are gonna come out, take a look at your AC. They're gonna tell you exactly how long you can expect your air conditioner to last. And tell you if you have it replaced. They have replacement options as well. They can give you peace of mind about your furnace as well. Head over to controlledcomfort.com tonight and set up a maintenance appointment with the team. Westview football in studio. We come back 1620 The Zone. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams with Williams Law. We didn't get to talk to Bob this week. He's out on vacation right now, but you know what he's still doing? He's still picking up the phone for his current and new clients. If you have a son or daughter that found themselves in a little bit of trouble, maybe they're in a parking lot doing some donuts, the cops showed up, the business owners didn't like them doing that, and now they're finding themselves having to face litigation. You have questions about their rights and what you should expect from your big day in court. There's no better answer than Williams Law. Bob and his team are going to sit you down. They're going to walk you through the process and give you a free, no obligation legal consultation just for contacting Williams Law. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com. You get that free, no obligation legal consultation time.
Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Life is unpredictable. With seasonal storms and plumbing issues hiding around every corner, you can't predict the future. So when life happens, go with a trusted, reputable company like Paul Davis Restoration. Fire, water, mold, or storm damage can all be restored by Paul Davis Restoration. Don't live in the aftermath of tragedy. Restore your home today. Call Paul Davis Restoration at 402-553-0373 today.
Heat waves are crashing all over the Midwest. Beat the heat with Controlled Comfort. If your AC is aging and you have concerns, Controlled Comfort is your one-stop shop for all your HVAC issues. Let Controlled Comfort's comfort specialists come out, diagnose your issue, resolve it, or replace that old AC unit with one that'll keep you cool in the months ahead. Head over to ControlledComfort.com today.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control. Yeah.
$7:25 on a Thursday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being number one in Omaha doesn't happen by accident. If you've been affected by seasonal storms, need a new roof, windows, gutters, or siding, they're going to give you a free estimate. All you have to do is head over to pyramidroof.com tonight. The Westview head football coach, Ben Ryan, is in studio with us tonight with Aaron Kalala and Keelan Ivey tonight. Guys, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having us, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Coach, there was a conversation being had in this room last year. You guys go 6-4 in the season, but there was this rumbling around the city when Westview starts off 3-0. Could you guys feel that out there off 156th and Ida about the buzz about this team at the beginning of the season last year?
Yeah, we definitely felt it, but we knew at the beginning of last year how our camps would win, how the summer went, that it was going to be a pretty special year for us, and that those first 2 years that we had in the program were kind of leading up to what that team was capable of last year.
What do you think from sort of a buy-in belief perspective that getting that early success last year can port over to this year?
Yeah, everybody wants to be successful.
Yeah.
Not everybody's willing to do what it takes to be successful, but we've had a great group. That senior class that we lost, they bought in and they took the hard route that a lot of young men, a lot of people aren't not willing to take that route. So super proud of them, and got a couple these young men here tonight with me that have been doing the same thing since their freshman year and been playing a lot of ball. And yeah, the success is definitely it's definitely infectious, and people want to be a part of what we have going on now.
Are you glad that we don't have any tornado warnings tonight?
Yeah, it's the Omaha protected us last week.
You guys were supposed to be in last week, and that's why I made that joke. We appreciate you guys making the trek down today. When we talk about the success and the buy-in rate from a year ago, even though those seniors have left, what can you make portable from a year ago to 2025, 2026 and bring with you from that season last year?
Yeah, last year, one of our mottos was we had to learn how to win. We learned how to compete and learned how to do that. But last year we learned how to win. And I think that that's carrying over with these guys. Aaron and Kellen here, they know what it takes to win high school football games in Class A football, which it's not an easy thing to do. And that's definitely something that these seniors, these upcoming seniors and the group of guys, they now know how to do. They know how to win Class A high school football games.
You mentioned just before we came on about you just finishing up with your team camp. What kinds of things are you looking to accomplish when you go into a team camp, and what did you guys get done, you think, during this off-season workout period?
Yeah, big thing is just learning how to practice the right way. The expectations that we have for our guys, like we don't condition. I mean, we were talking about it in the car right over here. It's like, when was the last time we conditioned? We don't need to because of how intense our practices are and how everything's go. Like we try not to waste a second, and our guys, the conditioning gets done there. So team camp, we're looking for some of those younger guys who's going to step up and be guys that can compete for us this year and have an impact on the team. And just teaching a lot of the basics of the positions, everyday drills, the basic installs of our offense and defense. So it's less focus on the lifting and the weight room aspect and a higher focus and emphasis on the football side of things.
This is year 4 of Westview being open. I remember the conversation 4 years ago. How does Westview and Buena Vista navigate these waters and compete in Class A? And only freshman and sophomore on the team. Yada, yada. What is different about this program today heading into the 2025-26 season that you could say is true growth from where the school was 4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it was a grind. I mean, we took our lumps and those days are behind us now, though. I mean, the expectation now is to win. I mean, we expect every game that we go into, we're going to compete, and the expectation is that we compete as hard as we can, and we're going to have an opportunity to win every single game that we're in. So the expectations there have definitely changed, and it's kind of changing the whole school. I mean, you've seen it in our basketball program, our softball program, volleyball, the wrestling programs having success. I mean, all the programs at Westview are kind of experiencing that same thing. So, yeah, it's more of an expectation we think we can win any game that we compete in.
In just a short space of time, I don't know if there's even an answer to this, but it seems like
what a great question this is lining up to be.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Every school in the Metro kind of has their natural rival. They've all been around for a while. They have someone who like gets circled on the schedule every year. Do you think Westview has that yet, or is that still developing?
I think it's still developing. I mean, obviously with the kind of natural closeness to like Omaha Burke. I mean, I think we have a little bit of rivalry there. Our kids know each other. They play together in middle school, a lot of them. But we want our rivals to be the top teams, the top 5 teams in the state. That's our goal, is to compete with those teams and to develop those rivalries with those kinds of teams.
Let's talk to a couple of these guys that you're developing at Westview. Aaron Colala is with us tonight. 102 tackles a year ago. How do you top that in your senior season?
I don't think it's so much of topping it, because my team led me to getting those tackles. So if that's what I have to do for us to win, then that's what I'm going to do. But I think winning games is most important. So if I get 5 tackles the entire season and we go 9-0, I'm happy with that.
That's a good answer. You played both sides of the ball last year. What do you like about playing both sides, and are you planning to do that again this year?
Yeah, I'm planning on it, hopefully. What I like about it is that
scoring touchdowns, you could say. Go ahead.
But it kind of feels like you're in the game the whole entire time. So you're making an impact on both sides. So you're really doing something important. And when you play both sides of the ball, that means you're giving other guys breaks that they might need, or you're giving your team depth that they might need. So
we saw you at junior day for Wayne State, and you were out of Washburn in March as well. How was your recruiting process about getting to the next level gone so far this summer? And when would you like to make a decision about where you're going to play your college ball at?
I've been talking to a few schools, like Missouri Western. I've been in contact with the most, and I've been going to the camps and keeping in contact with Coach McQuillan. But I'm not fully set on if that's what I want to do, because I want to be a firefighter. So if that's what I want to do in this upcoming
year.
With
your selfish attitude that you've shown tonight, I don't know if that's going to work out for you or not.
So yeah, it's if I get the opportunity, I might take it. But firefighting just seems kind of like what I want to do. So.
Where do you think your defense can be better than it was a year ago?
I think hustle, because hustle will make up for a lot of the mistakes that we might make. So let's say someone misses a tackle, someone's hustling over there, they're going to make that tackle, and we're not going to get a big loss or nothing like that. I also think communication. So if everyone's on the same page, it doesn't matter. It's always going to go good when we're on the same page.
Who's the best pickleball player on this team? You have the microphone. I just want to point that out.
I think we're both great, but I think in a 1v1, it's going to be me.
There you go. Well, let's see if Keelan feels the same way. Keelan Ivey is with us. And Aaron, thank you for your time tonight, man. Good luck this fall. Keelan, go step and grab the mic. We saw you draw some double teams last year. What does that say about your game that as a junior, and sometimes even out on the edge, you were drawing double teams from teams, even in run blocking, and when you were out there in the middle, it was almost mandatory that you had 2 guys on you?
Yeah, I mean, when I get a double team, I mean, it doesn't mean a lot to me. It just means that another guy is either coming unblocked or someone else has a single block. It makes everyone else's job easier. So if I'm taking up the double teams, honestly, it makes me happy. Even though I might not be making the play, it means someone else who, might be a little bit better of an athlete than me in the secondary or linebacker group will be making that tackle.
Coach, I wish you could have brought some humbled guys with you tonight. That would have been nice.
Hey, you're a senior now, man.
Yeah.
That's a big responsibility from a leadership perspective. What do you want your impact as a leader to be on those underclassmen?
My impact as a leader, I just want, I want to make them feel like family. I mean, there's only so much a coach can do for a team, and I've been with this program for 4 years now. And over these 4 years, I've really realized that there's only so much that the coaches can do. And, you got to make the younger guys realize that you got to be putting in that work as well. that it can't just be the coaches doing everything. And that, I mean, I just try and get the guys going.
You have a decision to make after you're done with your senior year as well. Do you know what life after high school looks like for you? You run into burning buildings too, or
No, I won't be running into any burning buildings. But I mean, after high school, thought about it a lot. I mean, college football just not something I'm super interested in. I mean, I love high school. I love the game. I love watching it, all of that. But I just comes times in life where it's just time to move on.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Right now, I really want to be an engineer.
Okay.
So that's hard stuff to do.
You won't be broke.
No, hopefully not.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. I mean, but
That's awesome though.
I don't know a lot of NFL players who are engineers. So.
Fair enough. Do you know where you'd like to go to school at?
Probably just here in Omaha. Go to UNO.
Okay.
So
Good engineering program, yeah.
It's cheap
Yeah.
too.
That matters.
You won't be broke.
Hey, we like to ask people it's one of my favorite questions is who do you like to watch? Who do you like to model your game after? You put up on social media the graphic the Eagles put out about Ty Robinson. Is that your guy?
I mean, growing up as a Nebraska fan, I would say he's one of our better players over the past few years. I love Ty Robinson. My dad's an Eagles fan, so you can never really hate on that.
What's your dad's name?
Julian Ivy.
Shout out to Julian Ivy. Hopefully you're listening, Dad. Kellen, we really appreciate it, man. Really quickly, do you agree with Aaron's sentiment about pickleball, or do you feel like you have the upper hand on the court?
I would love to say I have the upper hand, but he's definitely a little bit better than me.
Okay. I'm glad we got that. That was the question everybody had on their mind.
It was the burning debate for the night.
Well, Kyle, good luck this fall, and thanks for being here tonight, man. Coach, we'll go back over to you, wrap this up, and we're catching up with the Westview football team. Their head coach, Ben Ryan, is in studio with us tonight. How does this team take the next step forward and compete for a state championship at 25?
Yeah, I think last year's accomplishments and success definitely helped springboard that. And like I said, it makes us expect success, but also the leadership of these two guys and what they've been through. And then some of the other guys that we have on our team that are really starting to step up, and kind of going back to what we were looking for in our team camp was where some of those guys are going to step up. And we've been very pleasantly surprised with some of these kids' maturity and growth. And I think that growth and that understanding and that bond that these guys are really starting to have is going to really springboard us and help us take that next big step.
We talk to a lot of coaches, and everybody has a different approach to who's going to be the captain, right? Some coaches like to let the players decide. Some like to let the assistant coaches decide. Some it's the head coach just identifies those guys and they're the captains. What's your opinion on how to select captains, and what are you looking for from that spot?
Yeah, I don't think there's a perfect way to do it. I mean, honestly, the last 3 years we had a bunch of kids that we were kind of co-captains, but it was pretty simple. I mean, these two here, Kellen and Aaron, have been captains since the very first day that they were our seniors. I mean, we had our exit meeting with that senior group and wish them well and announced these two guys as captains from pretty much day one. I mean, they've been leaders on the team since they had their opportunity to be.
For anybody in the Westview area that's listening, there's a car wash next Saturday from 10 to 2 at the Hy-Vee on 156th and Maple. Can you explain how people can get involved in that and make donations?
Yeah, absolutely. So gas station 156 and Maple, that Hy-Vee there. Just come, bring your dirty car, bring a clean car. It doesn't matter. That makes it easier on us. Anytime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Free will donations. So
bring all of your cash.
Yeah, all the cash. We'll try to get a Venmo and Cash App and all that. But no, seriously, any support that anybody can give, we truly appreciate it.
And this car wash will benefit all sports at Westview, correct? Not just the football team.
This one is just football.
Oh, it is.
But
Okay,
we do have there is a gas pump at that gas station, pump number 15 that is for Westview Athletics. So anybody that fills their gas tank up at pump 15 on 156 and Maple at that Hy-Vee gas station, it goes back and supports all of Westview Athletics.
Fill up your gas tank, go get your car washed, stop by Hy-Vee on 156th and Maple and support Westview Athletics. Coach, thanks for doing this again. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys very much.
That was the Westview football program. Their head coach, Ben Ryan, Aaron Kaloa, and Keelan Ivey were in studio this night. If you missed their segment, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. It's brought to you by AX Plumbing, Home or Residential. They can do it all. Check out axpservice.com tonight for all your plumbing, water heater, gas piping, or backflow prevention issues. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated. They'll leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. Check out axpservice.com for more details tonight. Which teams will, won't, and should make the college football playoff out of the SEC? We debate on the other side of the break when we come back. 1620 The Zone.
Always, I know you'll be at my show, watching.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Paul Davis Restoration. Seasonal storms have rolled in 2 of the last 3 nights, and if you're starting to see a little bit of water or mold building up behind your windows, or maybe the upstairs bathroom's been leaking, a black spot is starting to show up on your drywall. You don't need that. You don't want that. Have your home restored to the way it was. Call Paul Davis tonight at 402-553-0373 and have your home restored tonight.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Are you ready for the game changer of the day? Bellevue University has a new state-of-the-art 72,000 square foot fieldhouse featuring premium courts, generous fan seating, top-tier locker rooms, dedicated athletic training, and a strength and conditioning space, plus a whole lot more. It's not just a venue, it's a home court advantage. We're for you and for college sports. Visit BUBruins.com.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it.
It's 7:43 on a Thursday night at 16 Sports Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You don't become number one in Omaha by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Vote for Pyramid Roofing to be number one in Omaha yet again in 2025 in Best of Omaha. We're going to give you will, won't, should now. Teams from the SEC that will, won't, and should contend for the college football playoffs. John, I'll let you determine. Where are we starting? You want to start with will, won't, or should? You want to turn your microphone on?
I do. I like to do that. Let's start with our wills. Let's go positive, boys, to start.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to start. And for me, I think it's going to be Tennessee again this year.
Ooh.
I really believe in Josh.
Without
Nico, that defense took a step forward at the end of the year. Obviously not the result you wanted in
No
Columbus.
Brew McCoy.
Joey Aguilar can sling the rock too.
That's exactly where I was going with this debate. And it's more than take everything you both just said and throw it out the window. I believe in Josh Heupel. I believe in that system. I think he's
Okay.
a winner. And I think Tennessee, despite all of the hate they got after the loss to Ohio State and the fashion that they lost that game, I think they're back in the college football playoff this year.
That's an interesting take. The easy one is Texas, but I'm not going to take the easy one.
Yeah, there was about 6 easy ones you could have went with.
Yeah.
I'm going with Texas A&M. I know that history says don't do this.
Is it because you think they're getting a first-round defensive
They always underachieve, but man, I think Mike Elko might be the guy to get him over the hump.
Listen, and I was not on that train. I said it time and time again last night. You can't just show up on campus and plug and play and be successful. I was overwhelmed with how well he did in his first year of college.
Yeah, I think they're going to be that surprise team out of the SEC that didn't make it last year that makes it this year. I think they're going to – Texas A&M is going to give people problems.
I think
that roster is loaded.
I think they're going to flirt with it this year. I think next year's the year for those guys. Which
So
team?
I'm kind of in the same boat as John. I'm picking a team that didn't make it last year that I think is going to make it this year. And
I
all
know-
on the
I know
strength
who
of their head coach.
I know who this is.
Kalen DeBoer in Alabama.
Ooh.
Is that where you thought he was going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was not where I thought he was going. And I'm very glad.
you thought I was riffing with Lane Kiffin, didn't you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well,
You don't-
okay.
you- Logan, you don't know about Dan's affinity for Ole Miss yet.
You do not. Do love me some Kiffin. Do love me some Baby Blue. But I am picking Alabama to make the college football playoff this year because Kalen DeBoer, I think, got a taste of the medicine that is the SEC last year. And he was right there almost at the end. And then the season just kind of fell apart a little bit for him towards, the back half and the back leg of it. Got a pretty decent schedule this year. Shouldn't be terribly tough for him to get a bid into the college football playoff.
Logan?
Beamer ball. Let's go South Carolina. Lenore Sellers. Not going to say he's winning the Heisman this year, but I think he'll be top 5, if not maybe top 3 in voting. But they ended the season as one of the hottest teams in all of college football. I don't see why they can't continue that into next year.
New poll question up at After Hours 1620. Does Dan
Thank you.
Does Dan look like every generic dude that goes to Ole Miss? Yes or no? Please let us know your thoughts.
Kind of. I mean, a little.
I can actually tomorrow night I'll come in full Ole Miss frat guy. I've got the hat for it.
I'm looking
Hotty
at him.
toddy.
I'm looking at him right now. I don't know.
You know what I just realized? Dan looks like a young Colonel Sanders.
Thanks.
I'm not gonna touch that.
I could sling a lot of chicken.
The team that won't make the college football playoff out of the SEC this year, obviously, there's a couple of pretty easy answers. You could probably double down on Mississippi State, and we'd all be correct. I'm gonna go with Florida, though. I know they've got a lot of expectations out of DJ Lagway, and their coach is still coaching for his job this season. I think there's a sophomore regression. I think we see a step back from the Gators this year. I think I was very adamant. I did not think Billy Napier was getting fired last year. I think he gets fired this year, and they give DJ Lagway the ability to kind of get his guy as his head coach heading into his junior season.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna disappoint you because I know you think this team's probably going to make it.
Okay.
LSU.
Ooh.
I think LSU is going to miss again, and I think it's going to be big trouble in the swamp for Brian Kelly. I think they're going to come up just short. I think that schedule is really tough.
But John, they put Clemson paw prints on all their punching bags inside the weight room.
Yeah, I don't see it. I just like Brian Kelly. I know he was good at Notre Dame. He got them to a national championship
Good at
game.
Cincinnati.
He was good at Cincinnati, but it has never seemed like a fit
From
at
day
LSU,
one.
From day one, and I think this is going to go. I don't think they're going to have a bad season. I can see them winning like
8-9 games.
8-9 games and just missing out.
Which is essentially what happened last year.
Yep.
Really quick before we get to Dan, where is the best place for Brian Kelly to end up if that's the case?
Iowa? Kirk Ferentz on the way out? due to
Somewhere
age?
in.
That's a horrible
Well,
idea.
he might be Wisconsin's
Old to
next
old
coach.
is never
Yeah, no.
That's what I was thinking. What if it's Florida State? Doesn't that feel like a pretty good fit for what
He's already
that
got that
offense
southern
is?
accent down pat.
No, he does not.
I think Brian Kelly belongs in the North.
Dan, who won't?
Ooh. All right, this is a hard one because I just do not trust Eli Drinkowitz, but I think it's going to be Missouri. They probably have
Specifically because there aren't 30 playoff teams this year.
yes, because there aren't 30 playoff teams, and I just after last year and the success that they had, I have a feeling that they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, and
It's a hobby in Missouri.
it is really hard to say that they're going to hurt themselves in the foot, shoot themselves in the foot when their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in reverse order: Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. Texas A&M
I can see them losing
is
two
a
of those
definite
games.
loss. Is a definite loss, but
I think Texas A&M is also lost. I think that's fair to say.
lost and a loss.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got Mizzou for that one.
Logan,
That's
who
my
won't make it in the SEC?
Just out of curiosity, for you guys, how many
Mhm.
losses do you think you can spare in the SEC this year
And make the playoff?
and make the playoffs?
They didn't put a 3-loss
Two.
team in last year.
Yeah,
at
I think
all.
it's with the format staying the same. I think it's 2.
Well, the team that I've got plays Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and Georgia Tech. That's right, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Ooh.
We don't know what their shot in the dark for whoever's going to be quarterback or how good they're going to be. You can give Carson Beck all the crap you want. He took them to the playoffs. Not like he was the one that propelled them to make the playoffs.
Gunnar Stockton?
I was going to say, we're all pretty sure it's going to be Gunnar Stockton. Though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that is a very rough schedule. They start conference play with Tennessee and Alabama on the road to Tennessee. I think it's just such a rough schedule. You've got Texas, Florida in there. Ole Miss will probably be pretty good. Maybe Hugh Freeze gets it going with Auburn.
Nope.
That's why I say maybe. But
You
they've got a
didn't
really
need to.
rough they got a really rough schedule. Quarterback could be shaky. I could see it.
I think the real question we need to ask ourselves is, does Gunnar Stockton make it throughout the entire college football season without shaving his head? Because he needs to. Which team should make the college football playoff out of the SEC? And this is obviously not a team that's guaranteed or won't. For me, it's Alabama. With all the
I
talent
went the
that you
exact
have,
same way.
Yeah, with all the talent you have, that coach who has won everywhere he has ever been, he's played for a national championship at Washington. On paper, he's upgraded in talent in Tuscaloosa, even though Michael Penix is pretty good and he had some pretty good wide receivers to throw to too. But on paper, he should be more successful at Alabama, so he should be playing in the college football playoff more often than he's not. And I've said it. I think this is the Kalen DeBoer revenge tour. I think Alabama has a shot at winning the SEC this year, so they should be in the college football playoff this season.
Yeah. Just for all the reasons you said, Alabama should be in the playoff. But you look at the schedule. They start the season at Florida State. They get Wisconsin at home. Nobody cares about that. Then they go to Georgia. Then they get Vandy at home, at Missouri, Tennessee at home, at South Carolina, LSU at home, Oklahoma at home. The standard second to last week.
Don't disrespect Eastern Illinois.
Blowout to Eastern Illinois and finishing with the Iron Bowl. It's a pretty tough schedule for Alabama this year. And if they don't have
But who in the SEC doesn't have a tough schedule? You know what I mean?
Sure. But the road games, like they have to go on the road to Georgia. They have to go on the road to everybody's darling South Carolina.
3 of their 4 road games are against top 25 preseason teams. The fourth one is Auburn.
And as we've
and
just
the fourth one is Auburn, so you can just throw the records out
as
the
we've
window.
just highlighted, a 3-loss team did not make the playoff last year. I think Alabama with their talent should, but it's not a guarantee because it's a tough road.
Dan, which team from the SEC should make the college football playoff?
For me, it's
you.
LSU because
a great
LSU
answer.
should make the college football playoff if, as John alluded to before, Brian Kelly enjoys his time down in Cajun country.
It's a great point.
And wants to keep his job.
Yeah, if they don't make the playoff, he's getting fired.
Yeah. And to give Brian Kelly a little bit less flack, he's been building for a while, and what he has been building towards has been all extremely positive, but it just seems like him or his offensive coordinator or his defensive coordinator just stumble over themselves and just can't get past the 2-3 loss segment within the SEC. I would hope it's going to be LSU this year. I would hope that they would make the college football playoff because that makes things more exciting. Brian Kelly has already coached a quarterback to a Heisman Trophy win, so it goes to show that he can at least produce some sort of talent.
Dan Orlovsky says he would take Garrett Nussmeier over Arch Manning too, by the way.
Well, Dan Orlovsky stepped out of the back of the end zone.
People forget.
But I
He
just
said he would choose, if he had to choose between Philadelphia food or Kansas City food for the rest of his life, he chose Philadelphia.
That's incorrect.
Dan Orlovsky has a lot of opinions. Most of Some of them bad.
Most of them are
I
bad.
won't say most
of them are bad.
Go Tigers.
Logan, which team should make the college football playoff?
You know what? We're going to stick with the frat boy Ole Miss. I think Lane Kiffin, kind of what we were talking about with Brian Kelly, they've been building to something. They've both been building to something. Lane Kiffin's got the swagger and the moxie that Brian Kelly just straight up does not have, and I think that will help him a lot.
So you have Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, the
Ole
Lane
Miss.
train pulling into the college football
Exactly.
playoff.
Choo-choo.
They were on the doorstep last year.
They were. Who gets more teams in this year? The Big 12 or the Big 10 or the SEC? Let me rephrase it. Who has the better chance of getting more teams in than the others? The Big 10 or the SEC?
See, because I'm going to go push on this one. I think both teams get 3 this year.
But if one of them has the chance to get 4, who has the better shot?
Ohio State, Oregon.
This is exactly why I'm asking this question.
Penn State. No, I think it. To me, it's the SEC.
Seems like an SEC year.
Go Big Ten.
You know who I think it's going to come down to? Who has the better year, Illinois or South Carolina? Because those teams have the preseason hype about the teams that could be, and we all know how much the College Football Playoff Committee loves themselves a story.
Yeah.
So if one of them comes close to it, I think that's going to be the deciding factor in that situation. If you missed any of the show tonight, we're the deciding factor in all of Omaha Sports Radio. So if you want to give it a listen, check it out on our radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Under the After Hours tab, it was brought to you by our friends at Allo Business. Allo has been impacting the Omaha community and Nebraska as a whole since 2003, and they have a great deal for you right now. You could stack and save. All you got to do is head over to allofiber.com/stack, figure out your radio dial, and get your volume set, and then stack with Allo Fiber Internet, DirecTV, and their new mobile services. Check out allofiber.com/stack between now and Labor Day. Get yourself a 2-year contract with no surprise fees. Locked in at that price with great internet, great TV, and great mobile service tonight. For Logan Mosley, John Schreiner, and Dan Campanen, I've been Jimmy Allen. Go buy a ticket because it's National Lottery Day.
I got a system.
Life is unpredictable, with seasonal storms and plumbing issues hiding around every corner. You can't predict the future. So when life happens, go with a trusted, reputable company like Paul Davis Restoration. Fire, water, mold, or storm damage can all be restored by Paul Davis Restoration. Don't live in the aftermath of tragedy. Restore